How's it going, guys? JP here, and this video is going to be 10 films that I find to be underrated. It's pretty much a top 10 list. I've had a few ideas for some videos involving, top 10s, top 5s and stuff, and I figured this one was probably the easiest one to do. Just go through the collection and pick out a few films that I found to be underrated or don't get talked about enough or are better than people usually say that they are. And this is just a personal list, of course. It's just my opinion of films that I feel are a bit underrated. So with that said, I guess I'll go into the list. Coming in at number 10, we have Tremors 2. I got the Tremors Attack Pack here. And you hear a lot of people mention the first film in a lot of creature feature and monster movie talk and stuff. And, it's pretty much a classic. The first Tremors is a great film, but I find the second film to be almost as strong as the first one, and in my opinion, I actually enjoy watching it more than the first one. I usually, when I want to watch a Tremors film, I usually pick part two. I think they had a great idea with the first film, and the second film comes in, and it's a good sequel. It may not have Kevin Bacon, and it may not have as big of a budget, and as professionally made as the first one, but it takes the idea of the graboids and the mythology behind them and kind of expands on it and does what a good sequel should do. And it's just, still have the same feeling as the first film, and still feel like the same, type of movie, but kind of expand on the storyline a bit. And I just find it to be a great sequel. 3 and 4 aren't the greatest, but they're okay too. But Tremors 2 Aftershock is really one that I think deserves more attention. I find it to be a great movie. I have a lot of fun with the Tremors films. So moving on to number 9, we have Night of the Creeps. And this one, throughout the past few years, I've been hearing a lot more people talking about it, but there was a time when it almost seemed like I barely ever heard this one come up, but it is starting to seem like it's getting a lot more love. It's just a fun late night type of B movie. Tom Atkins is awesome in it. It's just a cool story. There's just a bunch of different things going on. It's not like anything else besides Slither, but there was nothing else like this that I seen that came before it or anything. Just kind of a weird movie, from the beginning with the aliens and the funny looking aliens in the ship and stuff, and all the slug stuff, and just all the weird things that happen in this movie. The stilling of the body, it's just a lot of fun, and I'm glad to see people were talking about this one a bit more. It's one that I revisit a lot. It's one that I love to watch late at night. So Night of the Creeps is an awesome one. Moving on to number 8. I actually don't own this film, which I really need to. It's been on my list for like ever. It's kind of a road horror movie, and I believe it's even set on Christmas Eve, which I found to be interesting. So you could even probably lump it into the Christmas horror themed movies, although I don't think it's snowing in the film. I can't it's been a while since I watched it, but I guess I better tell you guys what it is. It is Dead End. I believe it was, I forget, I can't even remember what year it was from, but one night I was up late at night and I caught it on TV, years ago. I was still in, high school or middle school, and it was just so much fun, and I didn't know the name of it for the longest time, and I eventually found out what it was once I started, following the YouTube stuff a little bit more. And the film is just, it's like a road horror movie, and it's just a weird movie where it's about this family going to a relative's house on Christmas Eve or whatever, and they're driving, and it's kind of this little bit dysfunctional family, and they just keep, something just keeps happening. There's just stuff happening to where it's, people were dying and stuff's starting to get scary and stuff, and they just keep driving down this road with like no turns, and there's stuff along the way, but they just keep driving, and this road seems to never end. It's one that you don't hear a lot about. I really need to get myself a copy of it, but yeah, Dead End. Moving on after that, we have it's kind of two films here, but it's the House 1 and 2. House is one of my favorite horror films of all time. And it's always been a favorite of mine ever since I was a kid. And even House 2 is great, but I'm mainly talking about House 1, but both of them are underrated. House is such a cool haunted house film. It's not, your typical uh, pots banging and doors closing and weird noises, boo house, boo ghost haunted house movies. It's something different. It's just a really cool, unique haunted house movie where there's cool stuff happening, entertaining stuff happening, and honestly, it's a bit of a comedy, but I find there to be parts that are actually genuinely creepy and kind of scary. But it has a weird atmosphere and really 80s and just a cool film. I really like the House 1 and House 2, so I think I don't hear a lot of people mention them, and they are great movies. So that's number 7, I believe. So moving on to number 6, we have a newer film. This one is one that came out in the past few years, and it is Insidious. Now, Insidious was a film that, when it was released, I believe it was around the time that Scream 4 came out, and that's what I was really excited about. And this one just kind of flew right under my radar. I knew it was PG-13. I knew people were talking about it a bit, but it just seemed like another Paranormal Activity type thing where it was overhyped, and to me, it just seemed like I wouldn't be too interested in it. So I let the hype die down, and eventually it came out on Blu-ray, and I bought it, and I was super surprised. It's a PG-13 horror movie, but it's very good, and it actually is very scary. This is one of the scariest movies I've seen in a long time. I've showed relatives this, younger relatives, and it's a really effective, scary movie. The visuals are are very, frightening, and the music, the way it's scored, and just all the stuff that happens. It's a bit slow at the beginning, takes a while to get going, but after it picks up, man, it's pretty terrifying. I have heard arguments where people said that they showed the demons and stuff a little bit too much, and I would say that they almost did. I don't think they really went overboard, but it was pretty close. Once you start showing things a lot, it becomes less effective. But I'm surprised they was able to show as much as they did and still have it be scary. But I don't really hear a lot of people talk about this one. And to me, this is one of the best horror films of the past, 5 years or whatever. Especially for a PG-13 horror film. I'm just a huge fan of Insidious. I really like it.